Hi my lovelies, and welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, my name is Amy and I am a cruelty-free makeup enthusiast. So today we're going to talk about more makeup releases. It's going to be a bit of a shorter one. There hasn't been as many releases, just kind of in the current climate with everything that's going on, but I still wanted to talk about it, and let's get started. Let's open up my good friend Trend Moods Instagram. All right, the first thing I want to talk about is the new J.Kissa collaboration with e.l.f. Cosmetics, and it's so cute, guys. Like, I never got my hands on J.Kissa's first collaboration that she did with e.l.f., but I thought it was very her. It's very colorful and vibrant, and this is no different. I think this is a beautiful rainbow palette from the drugstore. e.l.f. is a completely vegan brand as well, which I think is wonderful. I actually think this is very well curated, to be honest, and it's called the To the Rescue Eyeshadow Palette. It retails for $20, and I really like it because you have the red, the orange, the yellow, the green, the blue, the purple, and if you want to do more monochromatic, I think it has a nice gradient there that you could just focus on each shade individually, or you can play with them together, and I think it's adorable. I know that the insert, like the plastic insert that usually comes inside palettes to protect the shadows, has stickers on it. So you can use the stickers to decorate the top of the palette, which I think is very cute. You know, it's very her. Like, this is very on brand for J.Kissa. And there's also eyeshadow brushes that are unique to this collaboration. e.l.f. does not sell these shadows individually. So those are going to be $25. And then there's a liquid eyeshadow set. It's a duo, so excuse me, it's called Suki to My Heart, and I know Suki is one of her doggies, and that one is in gold, and then there's a clear base one, and that one is $12. So e.l.f. is also donating $1 up to $25,000 to Angel City Pits, which is a pit bull rescue organization with that, which I think is so wonderful. I watched her video talking about the release, and it was just so sweet, and she was showing all the doggies and then her doggies, and like my heart just broke because I love little animals and rescues, and it just kills me to know that so many animals, especially pit bulls, are abused and neglected, but it gave me hope because there's all these wonderful rescues. And anyway, like, I'm a mess when it comes to animal stuff, so I'm a sucker for it. But this actually looks really, really pretty. I almost want this. I almost want this rainbow palette in my life. I do have several colorful palettes already, but there's just something about this that's calling to me, especially the shimmer shades. There's this blue called Bailey that looks so bright, and I don't know. There's also this shade Suki in the palette that looks like this shimmery orange. I just want to play with it. So I know it releases this Monday, early access to e.l.f. members, so I know I'm a member of e.l.f. I'm a frequent purchaser from their website, so I know the first 1,000, I think, that purchase from this, they're getting a signed card from her as well. That's something to think about. I don't know. I totally broke my no-buy. It's just out the window for this year. If you didn't know, I had tried to do a no-buy, and I was successful for the first 3 months of this year, and then everything with the coronavirus happened, and then all my plans for the year kind of went down the drain, and I'm like, you know what? I have more time to review product, play with makeup, do more videos, so yeah, that just kind of went out the window. Anyway, let's talk about the Urban Decay Naked Ultraviolet palette. This is so disappointing. I'm sorry, and I don't mean to be mean, because I know people are going to see this and they're going to love it, and the purples do look very, very pretty. The shade Lucid as well looks very pretty. So there's like lilacs, violets, like really dark, deep purples, which I think is pretty. There's also the shade called Lucid, which is a holographic green pearl shift that looks stunning. But the other end of the palette is like peachy neutrals. And why? Why do you need the peachy neutrals? Is it because it's a naked palette? I think that's what disappoints me about the palette and makes me not interested in it at all. That's so disappointing because Urban Decay, like, they're really known for like their purple, like purples in their logo and their branding, and I feel like they should have just gone all the way and done a full purple palette, or at least, you know, that bright green pearl, the Lucid, like maybe throw in another like bright pop of color in there. I am so disappointed in this. I'm sure people who love Urban Decay, or they want to play with purples but they don't want to get a whole purple palette, may like something like this, but I just think this is very disappointing. I have not really been interested in a lot of Urban Decay products. You know, I love their Stay Naked foundation, is like one of my favorite foundations of all time, but really they're just not like as an exciting brand like they used to be. Their eyeshadow formula isn't the end all be all. Yeah, that's sad. Marc Jacobs has a bunch of new products out. There are new, what looks like new eyebrow duos. So there's a pencil and a gel, and it comes in not that many shades. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 5 shades. And then there's a bunch of new crayons. So I know that Marc Jacobs is really famous for his eyeliner crayons. And I actually just made a purchase from Sephora. I got the a gray, like a gray metallic crayon from him, so I'm really interested to try that formula out. It looks like there's a bunch of, let's see, antique gold, brass, bronze, pewter, and olive. Those sound really nice. And there's a new eyeshadow palette. It's called the Iconic Limited Gold Edition and Extravagance. It's $49.50. I've heard good things about his palettes. I've never tried them. I wouldn't go out and buy this. I mean, it's like a gold. It's a goldish palette, which I kind of have a lot of like metallics that are like gold and bronzy shades. So I'm not really in the market of it, but for this, but it looks very pretty. There's a mascara in here that I also purchased. So I did, along with the eye crayon that I got, I did purchase the new, it's called, what is the name of this thing? It's the At-Lashed Mascara. It's a new vegan mascara that they've come out with, and it's supposed to give length, definition, and curl. It has biotin peptide, provitamin B5, plant waxes to help build instant lash volume. So I definitely want to try this. I haven't tried a lot of Marc Jacobs things. I think I had like a sample lipstick from him one time, so I really wanted to try out this new mascara. I really liked the false doll-like look that the mascara gave in the photo, so I definitely want to try and see if it does that for my lashes. So Lunar Beauty has a whole new collection. They have the Moon Prism blush palette, as well as several lip glosses, and these look really, really beautiful. So this is Manny MUA's brand, and I think the stuff that I've tried from his brand are amazing. I have his Spellbound, what is it called? The thing that looks like a spell book palette. That is wonderful. He also makes one of my favorite highlighters of all time, which is the Moon Prism powder, and I have the shade Mercury. It's so good. It's so blinding and beautiful, and these blushes look really pretty. I do not need any more blushes right now, so I'm going to not purchase this, but I think the shades are really pretty. I like that it goes from very light to pretty deep. I think this would be flattering on a lot of skin tones. I wish that he sold these blushes individually, because I would probably be more keen on picking one up and trying it, because I don't need a whole palette, you know? Especially if not all the shades are going to work for me. I already have a full blush palette. I have my Jouer one, which I love that thing, and I don't play with it enough. So I think if I were to add a whole other blush palette to my collection, I would just be drowning in blushes. And the glosses, though, look so pretty. Again, I don't need more glosses because I feel like I don't wear enough gloss to begin with. I tend to gravitate a lot to bullet lipsticks or liquid matte lipsticks like I'm wearing right now, but these look super pretty. I love his packaging. Like, the whole aesthetic of his brand is so well thought out. And so the blush palette retails for $35 and the glosses are $17 each, or you can get the $40 bundle for the 3 of them. So they do look quite lovely. You can get the whole collection for $60. I want to see what the reviews say. I may be more keen on picking up one of the lip glosses to try out because it does look very, very nice. There's a shade called Celine, which is a really famous shade. I guess he came out with it last year and people wanted it so bad that he's now made it permanent. And these items are permanent. They're not limited edition, which I think was nice. So if you can't afford to get it right now, if you don't need it right now, it's an option to get it later on. I don't know anything about this company. Is it King Beauty Shop? Queen Beauty Shop? Q-I-N-G. There's a giant eyeshadow palette called the Brazilian Carnival palette. I have no idea if they're cruelty-free or not, but I have to talk about this because this is a 99 pan eyeshadow palette. And upon looking at it, you're like, bright colors are so pretty. No one needs 99 eyeshadows. This is just ridiculous. Like, there's a lot of shimmery blues that I see, hot pinks, lime greens. There's got to be dupe shades in here, and no one's going to use this many. Maybe if you're someone who owns no eyeshadows and you just bought this one thing and this is the only thing that you use for the next 5 years, but I can't see anyone, like, where do you store that? When I see these obnoxiously large palettes, I wouldn't even know where to start. I get overwhelmed. It's $50. Trendmood has a code that you can get 8% off. It's such a random percentage. I don't understand any of it. It has shimmers, glitters, mattes. It's just too much. Charlotte Tilbury has new bronzy products out, so she has a new bronzer, and that is the Airbrush Flawless Finish Bronzer. If it's anything like the Airbrush Flawless Finish Powder that I love, I'm wearing it today, that it's like one of the prettiest pressed powders. It's so ridiculously expensive, but it is really beautiful, and I hate saying that I love it so much and that I would definitely repurchase it, but if the bronzer is anything like that, oh my god, I would be I'm sold on it. I want to try it, but I have a couple bronzers already, so I'm not going to pick this up. I'd rather hear reviews about it. The packaging looks beautiful. And it comes in 4 shades, and the darkest shade looks pretty dark, which that's good. How much is it? It's retailing for, it's $55. Oh man, that's $55. It has hyaluronic acid in it, which is a really good ingredient to keep moisture into the skin. There's silica in it, which gives it a velvety texture. Ooh, microspheres for increased payoff and an elegant silky texture. See, this is just selling me. Like, I just look at it and I want it. But I'm not going to buy it right now. I'm going to hold off until I at least use up a whole other bronzer, because it takes me forever to go through bronzer. I've had my, like, this thing right here, I've been trying to pan it forever, this Physicians Formula bronzer. I've had this for 2 years maybe, and that's the pan that I have. I don't know. It just takes me forever to go through them, and I'm sure most people. So I'm not going to buy it right now, but I'm definitely interested. They also have this quad. It's called the Luxury Palette of Mattes in Desert Haze. So there's a nude, a blushed peach, a terracotta brown, a reddish brown for $53. You have this in some other palette. These quads, for that much money, the shades should just blend together. I'm very curious. I bet you can find a dupe of this. This is kind of reminding me of one of the small bite-sized palettes that e.l.f. has recently come out with. I just made an online purchase of those, and I'm going to review them for the channel, but I wonder if like those would be like a nice affordable dupe. And I think those are like $3. $53 for quads. I just can't. That's why I never buy her eyeshadows, because I just cannot justify that price. Next, let's talk about the new Haus Labs palette. This is Lady Gaga's brand. This is the Stupid Love palette. You know, I feel so bad because I keep saying like I have no interest in this brand, and I unfortunately have no interest in this brand. This palette does nothing for me. You know, the blues are pretty, but then it's like the half blue, half warm tones, which we've seen done before. The packaging is kind of like a cardboard silver. I'm glad that this is the most Gaga release that they've put out, because the other palettes and the other makeup, they're just not Gaga enough for me, and I love Lady Gaga. I think she's a phenomenal singer. She seems like a really sweet person. And the pictures, like the images of it are very her. I guess there's bright colors, but I don't know, when I see even the photos for it, I'm just like, they don't make me want to buy it. I mean, there are people that wear these bold colors, like the streak of the color and then another bold color right on top, you know, not very blended, I guess, but glad there's color. This is the most Gaga thing I've seen. Not interested. How much is it going for? $48. I was watching Lunar Beauty the other day, and she had mentioned that she was surprised that this Stupid Love palette didn't reflect the colors from the Stupid Love music video, which was a lot more like peachy, pinky, kind of, well, a lot more pink than peach vibe. And I kind of agree. I'm surprised that it's not based off of like the song more and the color palette from the music video. Oh, we have to talk about the Trader Joe's. This is the facial mist. They have a new facial mist, and it's watermelon, and it retails for $3.99. It's supposed to refresh and hydrate the skin, and I'm like, oh, ooh, this seems like a dupe for Glow Recipe. And I don't think Glow Recipe is cruelty-free, so I would be really interested in, like, if I were to ever come across this at a Trader Joe's. I haven't stepped foot in a store in months now, but if I were to come across one, I'd be like, ooh, for $3.99, healthy, cruelty-free, really affordable at a market. I think that's kind of exciting. So I would love to know how this is, like if it actually works really well or not. Oh, you know what is at Ulta right now, though? The Kiko Milano Tuscan Sunshine collection is there, and I don't need the palettes or anything because it's kind of stuff that I already have in my collection, I think, but the blush looks so pretty. Again, I don't need another blush, but if you're in the market for a blush, this looks so ridiculously pretty. There's a blush palette, and then they come in singles as well. My friend Allison actually got me the finishing powder, which is probably one of the prettiest imprints I think that I have on makeup. I'm on the fence about how I feel about that finishing powder. I still don't know how I feel about it. I felt like I really had to dig into the pan to get powder to come off, or maybe it's so microfine that I'm not even noticing it. But that's interesting that it's now at Ulta. So if anyone's interested in those, the blushes look very pretty. That's just my personal opinion. Not gonna pick anything up right now, but those blushes look mighty fine. Oh, you know what they also have? They have the Nourishing Lip Oil too, which I actually have that as well for my friend Allison. When she was in Italy, she got it for me. And oh, it's so pretty. I love that lip oil. I love putting it on top of just like matte lipsticks just to add a little bit of comfort to the lips. And it's very nourishing. I like it a lot. Juvia's Place has another eyeshadow palette. This is called their Walhalla palette. It's very bright and bold. There's like metallic, there's matte, and several glitter shades, I believe. So the thing about Juvia's Place palettes is that I always love the colors. Like, they always look very pleasing to the eye, but sometimes I have a hard time when I look at them figuring out how to do a look. And I think that's just more of me not necessarily being a very good artist, because I look at this palette and I think the colors are so pretty and I love the packaging, but I don't know like how to put these kind of colors together. Like, I'm just not very inspired with looks. Like, I don't look at it and go, I'm going to do this and this and this, and I'm going to put this in the crease. And it's a bigger palette. I just feel like it's too much for me. I'm not completely against big palettes. I have a couple of big palettes, but I feel like they have to be a little bit more cohesive for me, or A good example with a big palette that really works is I think about the So Jaded palette, the Kathleen Lights collab with ColourPop, and I could almost see quads in that palette. I see color combinations that work very well together. Here, I feel like it's a little bit disjointed for just my personal taste, so that's why I'm not picking it up. The price I don't think is bad. It's $36. So if that's something, you know, you're into, I'm personally not interested in this palette. Beauty Bakery has these new bars, the Neapolitan bar and the brownie bar. So one of them is like, it looks so like for like a lighter shade and a darker shade, or for lighter skin tones, darker skin tones, and it's a blush, highlighter, and a bronzer. The brownie one looks fantastic for dark skin tones, and the lighter one, that pink looks very, very bright, and the bronzer, it's a really cute idea. Like, it makes me want an ice cream sandwich right now. Like, when makeup makes me hungry, that's very dangerous. I feel like I just want to eat. Like, now I'm hungry. I don't need another like bronzer, blush, highlighter trio thing. I have so many already in my collection, but I think this is actually a really cute idea. And those are already available, so you can pick those up now if you're interested. Milk Makeup has a new product. This is their CBD and Arnica Solid Body Oil. I remember when I worked at Lush, there were products that had arnica in them, and they were really, really good for soothing sore muscles. So I'm very curious as to how this would be, soothing the skin, soothing sore muscles. It seems like it's a pretty good blend for that, and the only thing though is that it's $50. Which is very expensive. I'm not sure what's causing it to be that much. I guess CBD is kind of just expensive in general, because I have a CBD lotion that I got from Kapari, and it's this little jar, and it was so expensive. I used my Ulta points to get it, but I feel like that is so much money. But if you guys get this, if anyone gets it, let me know how it is, because I have, this is like the strangest thing, I have the tightest calf muscles recently. It's been a problem, well, not recently, it's been a problem for like 3 years now. I used to be an avid runner. Like, when Chris and I, the first maybe 2 to 3 years of us being together, we would run constantly. I would be able to work out for an hour and then go for a run on top of it. Like, it was just insane. I was much thinner than I am now, and then all of a sudden I started having a lot of pain in my calves, and it prohibited me from running and walking long distances, and I keep trying to find something that would help like my muscles. So if anyone has any tips, let me know, or if anyone's a doctor, let me know, because every time I bring it up to a doctor, they just dismiss me. Oh my gosh, yes, we have to talk about something that's finally almost here that I am so excited about. That is the Storybook Cosmetics. This is the Starry Night palette. Now, I think I've talked about this a million times on other channels. So Storybook has a lot of great ideas, and they're just terrible at executing them. So, you know, I always talk about the book club. So they had this book club membership. I jumped on it when I first saw the Little Women prototype. They didn't even have the real thing. I jumped on it. I joined. It took them like half a year to get out the actual things after purchasing them. It took them a full year to do their next book, which was the Sherlock Holmes one. And now, you know, we're halfway through 2020 almost, and they still haven't come out with their Jane Eyre one that they've been showing forever. So it's at this point becoming like a yearly thing. But there were several palettes that they teased back in 2018, saying that they were going to release in 2018. I think their website still says coming in 2018, and it was the Starry Night palette, it was a Hunger Games palette, and it was a Star Wars palette, I think. And of course, all those things were like, ooh, interesting. I mean, Hunger Games now, I feel like it's just kind of, well, I think Susanna Collins, is her name? Susanna Collins, the author, I think she wrote a new book. I don't know. I think it's a prequel. That's coming out this year. So maybe if they can get on that Hunger Games book, then it'll be like a good release, because now, you know, the Hunger Games books came out a while ago. The books came out, the books and the movies came out a while ago. So I feel like it's kind of outdated, but I'm totally for this Starry Night palette. This looks so pretty. Love Van Gogh, one of my favorite artists. This is one of my favorite paintings. And interesting little fact here, I'm gonna kind of like jump as a jumping off point for just a discussion. I got married at a museum, at the Hillstead Museum in Connecticut, and that museum actually is a home, and the woman who built it, Theodate Pope, it was her house. She actually collected a lot of art, and so there's a lot of impressionistic and post-impressionistic paintings there, and she actually owns several of Van Gogh's paintings, including the haystacks that he did. And then there's also the Gaga, there's some of the Gaga bathers there as well. So again, I digress. I just had to talk about it, but I remember like when I first got the tour for that place, and people at our wedding got to go through the house and get a tour and see all these paintings. But I just get so excited when I see this, and I can't wait to see the inside. I would hope that it's very much inspired by the color palette of the actual painting. So we're looking at yellows and blues and maybe even some grays, but I think it's going to be super pretty. I can't wait to see it, but I'm very excited about this. Like I get like pumped up. Like this is the stuff that gets me going makeup wise, when there's a lot of interesting story stuff behind makeup. Alrighty, my friends, so that is it for me today. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the new makeup musings. Let me know down below if you plan on picking any of these things up, or if you have picked them up, what are your thoughts? If you like this content, please remember to like and subscribe. And until next time, remember to stay compassionate and chic. Bye!